Hi, I am Dana K. White. I am here to answer your decluttering questions or general home management questions. So I teach and I speak from the perspective of someone to whom this stuff does not come naturally. So my own story is that I had to dig my own way out of my mess. And so I share what I learned in my books, in YouTube videos, all that kind of stuff. So welcome if you are new around here. Well, welcome to all of you, really. I will be answering questions that were submitted ahead of time at askdanakWhite.com. That is where you can go to submit questions for future videos. But I will also, for the last half, I will take questions from those of you who are watching live. Okay. So, all right. Let me make sure I can be heard because that's always my thing. Okay. Nobody's saying we can't hear you. So I'm going to assume that you can hear me. I do want to let you know, if you want to learn my strategies from Decluttering at the Speed of Life, which is one of my books that is probably the most well-known of the books. But if you want to learn those strategies in a live format that is interactive, meaning like you can ask questions and there will be discussions, I have coaches. Hold on just a second. Okay, I have coaches who are certified in my method. I have over 40 coaches, okay, who are certified. But these are the ones who will be doing a class. Take that away so now you can see my face again. Who will be doing classes starting, they're like 5 to 6 week classes starting in February that you can join. And so they are certified by me. They will go through the process, go through the strategies. But the value of it, obviously, you can read the book, right? But if you're like, I need somebody to discuss these things with, I need to have somebody I can ask my questions, all that, that's what these are for. Okay. So if you want to know more about those, go to declutteringcoaches.com/class. We do have 2 that are live and in person. One is in near Boston, okay, in Massachusetts, in the Boston area, okay, and then we have one that is in North Carolina. The others are online, okay. So find one that works for you. Okay, all right. Well, I am going to answer questions that were submitted ahead of time. I'm going to read the actual question as it was asked. What you see here is an abbreviated version of that we can fit into all of this. Okay, here we go. Hi, Dana. Just before Christmas, we had a major plumbing leak, and long story short, our house is torn up. I am so sorry that you're going through that. And we had to pack up our bedrooms. I felt like we were moving. Only with Christmas, we only had a few days to pack up. One of the bedrooms is my craft room. I admit I have started and stopped a number of times to declutter in there, and it has been my Achilles heel. I am determined that when the work on the house is finished, that these items I had to pack up in a hurry, no time to declutter, will not all be allowed to come back in. I'm thinking of bringing in only one box at a time, maybe one box per day, and trying to have no mercy in my decisions of what makes the cut and what doesn't. All that to say, do you have any suggestions for me? Absolutely. First of all, again, I am so sorry that you're going through this. That is so incredibly stressful, right? Like so incredibly stressful. Your idea of one box at a time is excellent. And that's exactly what I would do. I wouldn't put the rule on it of one box a day. I would just be like, when I'm able, I'm going to go box by box, one box at a time. As you bring it back into the room where it lived before, excuse me, what I would do is item by item, treat it as if it's the decluttering process, right? So item by item, if it's obviously when you take it out, trash or easy, meaning, oh, well, of course, I already know exactly where this goes. Go ahead and take it there, okay? If it's trash or a donation, have your trash bag and your donate box, your donatable donate box right there so they can go straight into that, okay? So, but if you take it out and it's not those 3 things, ask yourself the question, if I needed this item, where would I look for it first? And put it in that spot immediately, whether it's in this room or it's I would actually look for this in the garage, or I would actually look for this in the primary bedroom, or whatever it is. Okay. Take it to that spot immediately. That's the key. More than the pacing it out one box a day, the key is the facing reality. That is everything. So you take it to the place where you would look for it first, and you face the reality of that space. Is there room for it? If there's not, am I willing to get rid of something in order to create the space that I need for this item to be here? And you put it there immediately. Now, in the beginning, it's going to be kind of easy, right? Because the room was empty. You're taking item by item, you're putting it in that spot. But the more that you go through those boxes, that's when you're really faced with reality. Like, oh, I just said I would look for my washi tape in this space. And now I've opened up a box and I've got 10 more rolls of washi. I face the reality. Okay. I go to that spot where I would look for it, and I embrace the reality of that space. This space is only so big. So do I like this washi? Isn't that how you say it? Washi tape? I don't know. I don't actually use these things, so I'm not sure why I pulled that example out of the air. But anyway, this, it's spelled at least like it's washi tape. This washi tape, is it value? Do I love it enough that I'm willing to take out another one I don't love as much in order to create the space for that? So you're just, that facing the reality of the space, that taking it there now is everything in this process. That is the thing. And doing it that way means you can stop at any time. So you might have a day where you can get through 6 boxes. And you might have a day where you bring a box in and you get through 3 things. And that is okay, right? Because you know that when you go back to it, when you have energy again, you just keep working on that box, right? That's the key. It's the following the no mess process. So in case you're new around here, I have my no mess decluttering process. That is what decluttering at the speed of life is. Like that is where I lay out the process. I apply it to all the different spaces in your home. Also give you the mindset shifts and everything that you need to change how you function in your home as far as stuff. But that no mess process is the key to having a methodical way to do what it is that you're wanting to do here. Okay. Let's see. Here's a great one. Since I just talked about my decluttering coaches, here's a great question to tackle. Let me go to read the full question. I found your 5 steps to be incredibly helpful when I'm guiding others, my husband and 5-year-old son in my household, but also friends and family as they work in their houses. When helping others, I'm wondering how much you set the stage first. Do you explain any ground rules, have them declare the purpose for spaces, and or make agreements, or just start looking for trash? It seems that you have 2 boundaries that are clear to you. It seems you have 2 boundaries that are clear to you, but feel somewhat subjective. Containers should have enough room that you can easily find things and get things in and out. And 2, the family's space to live function gets priority over stuff. When helping others, do you get them to commit to these ideas up front? I'm finding that for some, the desire to keep something means a willingness to shove a container full, or being okay with storing something on the floor, counter, etc., that in my view gets in the way of living. How much do you push back on the overall overfull containers or expansion of storage into living spaces? I'm willing and able to enforce the container limits on my 5-year-olds, but it's harder with adults. Absolutely it is. Do I let it be, or is there a way to help them make the mindset shift? Okay, so let's see what the abbreviated version of this question was. When helping others, how much do you set the stage first? I don't. Okay. I literally, and this is what I teach my coaches in my coach training and the certification and all that. It is so important. And we're talking about adults here, right? Because you said specifically, like, it's easier to enforce that with your 5-year-old. Yes, you're right. But when you're talking about an adult, the building of trust, both in you as someone who will help them without judging, and that this process actually can work for them, when every other way that they've tried to declutter in the past has only made them frustrated, has probably hurt relationships with the people who were helping them before, all of that. The building trust in you and in the method are key. Okay. So you stick to the process, stick to the decluttering process, the no mess process. Instead of explaining it first, instead say, okay, This is the method that's worked really well for me. And I recommend that you have it printed out on a piece of paper. So aslobcomesclean.com/5, F-I-V-E. You can go there, sign up for my free newsletter, and you get the printable of the 5 steps, right? That piece of paper is something outside of you so that it's not a matter of me trying to tell you this is what's going to work. Instead, you were at a place where you were ready to listen and hear and then apply. For them, they may have been like, yes, I want you to come in and help me, but I guarantee you they're scared of it, right? Like they're scared of you helping them. And is this going to go like it always did when my mom tried to help me clean my room in the past, whatever. So having that piece of paper and saying, okay, so the first step is trash. What in here is trash? Let's just get that out of here. Here's the key. They determine what is trash. Because the value of the trash step is that it is no decision. There are no decisions being made. I am not assessing. I'm not evaluating. Is this trash or is it actually useful? No, it's obvious trash. And we let them make those decisions because as they do that, they see, oh, I can make progress with no angst, with no decisions being made. It is worth it to get in there and get started on the trash. So you're teaching them the value of that as you are working. Okay. As you keep going, anything that's easy, anything that has an established home already in the house. Okay. Let's go ahead and take that there now. Through that, you're starting to show them the value of things going in the place where they would look for it first, even though you're not there yet. Right? Like you haven't even mentioned that yet. This is just stuff that's easy. Some things do have homes. They get out of the homes. I'm not judging you for that. I'm never asking. I think in one of the things was like why. I never ask why. That is one, as coaches, that's one of the things I teach. We don't ask why something is here and not there. We don't because that just halts the process. Instead, our goal is to help them see how quickly they can make progress when they follow the steps in this order, right? But we don't have to explain that. We just let them experience it because that is the most motivating thing, is experiencing the power of this process. So we just go through that and we don't. But as we're going, and as we're talking, right? Like, because we're having conversation and a lot of times they want to tell me about certain things and that's fine. And I just listen. But as we're going through the process, I casually work in the fact that, so our goal here is to get things to the point where a 5-minute pickup is going to get it back under control real easily. That's as we're walking. I mean, as we're working, as they're getting rid of things, as they're sticking stuff in the donate box as a donation, as we're doing things. As we do the, take it there now, I know it's tough, but here, let's just do this while I'm here so that you can kind of see why this works and how we have to face the reality of the space and how powerful that is in all of this. And wow, look at how we could stop. So we could stop right now. Look how we could just stop right now. Isn't that cool? You good to keep going? Because if you want to stop, we can stop, right? I mean, all those things are building trust in the method and are building trust in you. Got it? As someone who they really can trust to help them and not judge them during this time. And then, as far as the container concept, all of those things, you get to that point after they've gotten rid of a lot of stuff. And so we are focused on better, we're focused on less. And so if they really just want to, shove it harder in there, okay. We've still made a ton of progress and that was our goal, right? We've made the space better. The space is better than it was before. And that's wonderful. So, after this, live with it for a while. If you're finding that it's consistently getting out of control, then, having less stuff will make it easier for it to, stay under control for longer. So, you kind of use that and work through this process. As far as the, they're fine with setting something on the floor. That is the one time where you would really emphasize the, this is our living space. And this is, so it's not ahead of time that you explain to them that, the couch is not a storage thing, but as it comes up, where would you look for this first? Well, I'd look for it on the couch. Okay. But, our goal here is that the couch not be a place where we keep stuff, but that it be a place where you can relax, right? So if the couch was clear, where would you look for it first? And just use that process and let them be making these decisions, which then empowers them to really understand that this is possible to function in their home. And then it builds momentum over time, right? Okay. Y'all catch that I was pushing my coaches there. Remember, a lot of them have their, I'm just going to put it up one more time. Some of my coaches right now are hosting classes, okay, where it's a live interactive thing. It's not a pre-recorded thing that you watch on your own time. No, it's an actual live class that you will attend, and therefore you have discussions with other people and get to ask them questions in real time and all that. So anyway, check them out. I love my coaches. Can you tell? Okay. Next question. Let's see. The full question was, I've been making so much progress thanks to your method. It's been so helpful for my anxiety to get my house in order. How the heck do I organize my toolbox? AKA a bin of bits and bobs and nails and wires that the DIY people in my life use. I don't. My husband doesn't. When my mother-in-law and father-in-law come to town, they do projects for us and we acquire stuff and they rebuy stuff, and it's a lot. I need any words of wisdom when tackling these tubs. What kind of storage do you use for tools and nails, etc.? Okay, great question. Fantastic question. First of all, what a wonderful problem to have, right? Is that mother-in-law and father-in-law come to town and do projects for you. Like, let's all be excited about that, right? Like, so it's one of those, sometimes I have to take things and go, wait, this is a really good problem to have, but how do I actually make it function for my everyday life? How do I live with this? Well, so you said this is not really something that you use in your everyday life, but it is something of value for your mother-in-law and father-in-law because that is part of life, right? They come to your house, they do these projects. So what I would say is, what space do you have? Instead of thinking, what do I do with all these different tubs? Think, what space do I actually have in my home to devote to this stuff that we don't use all the time, but it does get used when they come to town, okay? And maybe that is a certain place in a storage closet. Maybe it is in the laundry room, whatever, wherever it is. If you have a garage, maybe it's that corner of the garage, and this tub, that's the stuff for these types of projects that we don't use, but yes, they get used because the mother-in-law and father-in-law come to town. So once you establish this is the space that we can devote to this, that doesn't take up the space that we need for our actual everyday lives the rest of the year, then what can that space hold? Can it hold one tub? Maybe two tubs? Okay. Now that space, that container, that limit is my guide. And so as I have, okay, I have space for one tub. All right. Well, then I am going to put in that one tub the most commonly used, deserving of space, container-worthy things from all of these tubs. Okay. So this one tub, I am going to say this is the one. And maybe I look in there first. Well, I do look in there first. I say, what in this tub? I go through the process. What in this tub is actually trash? Oh, those things are trash, right? Here's the packaging from the paint supplies, whatever, that I don't know why that's in there. I'm going to get that out of there. Is there anything in this that actually does have a home in my regular everyday world? Oh, yeah, that's easy. Okay, I get those things out of there. Is there anything in here that just obviously needs to be donated? Oh, well, it is the unopened paint bottles from a color that we ended up not using or whatever. Okay, get those things out of there. All right. Now I'm going to go through this tub over here and say, what in this tub deserves space? And I'm going to put it straight in this tub, and I'm going to face the reality of it. There's not enough room for it anymore. Okay, what deserves space less? And I'm just making all these decisions according to this is the only space that I have. So what deserves space here most? I mean, you said that they already rebuy, which is probably because there are random tubs where different things were. And so it kind of ends up being a situation where, oh, pretty sure we had that, but I don't want to go through all those tubs. So I'm just going to go and rebuy it anyway. Well, it's being rebought anyway, but then it's just adding to, right? So if it's in one tub and we know that I've gotten rid of everything else, this is the tub of stuff that I kept that I was pretty sure was the stuff that you might want for the next time. Sorry if it's not, but they were probably going to rebuy anyway if it was all in random tubs. So, but this is the tub that I kept. And then it will probably make everybody happier, right? To be like, yeah, I've actually consolidated everything that I was pretty sure you would still want for future projects into this one tub. Okay, they can look in one tub. It's not overwhelming. They actually see what's there. And then as they bring more things in, just say, yeah, I'm keeping it down to that one tub. That's really the only space that I have for these types of items. And so as it's in this one tub, when they get something new for a new project, that easily helps you go, oh, okay, well, there's no space. Oh, that stuff over there. Yeah, we're totally done with that project. And then involve them in that, keeping it with one tub. That's my advice. Okay. Let's see. Most common question we ever get, right? I've made huge progress thanks to your method. My house feels wonderful. Thank you. Tips for getting my husband on board. He cannot handle the amount of stuff he has, and all his containers are full. He gets free stuff a lot and has lots of memorabilia that people send him that he stores in tubs or crams in closets. How do I get through to him since I'm the one affected by the mess? His office is a dumping ground for overflow of clothes, packages, paperwork. I ask him why he's keeping all this. See, we don't ask. That was the why question that I was talking about. We don't ask why. Asked him why he's keeping all this memorabilia he doesn't look through ever. And he said, I'm not old enough to look through it yet. Okay. So first of all, we don't ask why, right? Like we just take that out of the equation. So first, couple things to think about. I'm the one affected by the mess. Are you functionally affected by the mess, or does it just drive you bananas? It's one of those pick your battles kind of things. Okay. So if his office is his space, there are times where you have to decide, I'm going to shut that door. Okay. I'm just going to ignore that, whatever. But let's say his office has become so crammed full of things that he can't actually work in there anymore. Focus on the function. Say, would you like to be able to work in there? Let me help you with that. Don't explain the container concept. Don't explain clutter threshold, all that kind of stuff. Just, did you want to be able to work in there? I'll help you with that. Okay. And go through the process like we were talking about in the last question of, going through anything that's in here that's trash. According to him, no, are you kidding me? That right there, you don't think this is trash? We don't have those conversations. We take that out of the equation and we just say anything that's trash, and then you bite your tongue when they don't see things as trash that are trash, and you move to the next step, because it all gets eventually dealt with by the end of the process, right? So if there is a broken broken hammer, and they never see it as trash and they don't see it as a donation, then it's not easy, blah, blah, blah. Well, then at some point it becomes an issue of what deserves space on this shelf? The broken hammer or the hammer that works? Okay. All right. Because there's only room for one. So we get to it eventually, right? But we go through this process with him and give him, instead of, and I know this is frustrating, right? Like I'm in no way saying, what's the big deal? I know this is frustrating, and there are layers and there are levels and all that kind of stuff. But giving him some space of being like, hey, I cleaned out this closet of stuff from, a different phase of our life that was kind of neutral stuff that you felt like you could do. I cleaned out this closet so that you can put your memorabilia in there and put it in there, help him put it in there. And just that process will often help us. He may feel like, I can't go through that stuff yet. But if we're going to put it into a designated space where it's like, hey, you love this stuff. Here's a special space for that. Here's a closet that's been cleared out for that stuff. Okay, well, just touching stuff to put it in there very well may reveal some donations or some trash, right? Because instead of it just being, I'm not old enough to deal with that stuff yet, it is, okay, I'm actually touching it and acknowledging what it is, which helps me then look, always look, which always reveals trash, right? But as you're doing that, say, let's pick your favorite things. Like, what are your most favorite things first? So that we can put those things in there first, and then we can know that there's going to be space for your very favorite things. Just that exercise reveals things that are not as important to us, right? Which if people are sending him things, there is a really, really high chance that he's got some stuff that actually doesn't mean that much to him. And a lot of times this process will help reveal that. Okay, let's see. Did I have one more that I was going to answer today? Yes, one more. Okay. The full question, as it was written, is I'm overwhelmed by my clutter and cannot manage my home. I attribute one to the other. Absolutely, you're correct in that. I listen to the podcast and watch videos and have your ideas swirling around in my brain all the time, but I would like to turn to one of your books. Which book should I start with? Manage Home or Decluttering? Thanks for all you do. Good idea to go with the books because they lay it out, right? This is me talking really fast and answering all these different questions. The books lay it all out. These are the mindset shifts you need to make. This is the process, why it works, how it works. I answer pretty much every question you could ever have in the books and lays it out. Anyway, so the books, that's a great idea. If you are completely overwhelmed because yes, you have clutter, but you also just feel like I can't manage my home. There are people who are like, okay, I have things under control, but the clutter is driving me crazy. But you specifically said, and cannot manage my home. I would go with How to Manage Your Home Without Losing Your Mind, because that takes you from this complete state of overwhelm into, okay, this is what I have to do. This is why I resist it and how to get over that. And yes, it talks about clutter and gives you the basics of decluttering that then we go into really deep in decluttering at the speed of life. But that's what I would start with, is How to Manage Your Home Without Losing Your Mind. So, okay. I will be answering some questions. Look at me, 12:27. I always say for the last half, I will answer questions from those of you who are watching live. And here I am. I actually halfway am doing this. Yay. If you have asked a question already, go ahead and feel free to ask it again with 3 question marks at the front so that I can make sure I see it as a question, because I love how y'all interact with each other and help each other out. But that helps me see, oh, wait, this is a question that somebody needs answered. While I'm transitioning here to the next thing, I do want to remind you, my coaches, I train and certify coaches. That's declutteringcoaches.com. You can go to declutteringcoaches.com, see if there's a coach in your area who can actually come into your home. That's what they're trained to do. They are trained, they all own their own businesses, so they all have their own ways of running things, but they are trained in my methods and certified by me if they're listed there at declutteringcoaches.com. declutteringcoaches.com/class. They are 6 of them, 6 of my over 40 coaches are hosting live decluttering workshops, okay, where they teach you through the strategies in decluttering at the speed of life. And it's in a format where you'll be able to have discussion and ask questions and all of that, okay? All right. Let's see. Yeah, not sure what somebody had asked, but yes, there are, all my books are in all the formats. So I have paper, actual physical books. They're all like Kindle, all that, and audiobooks. And I read my own audiobooks. So if you hate my voice, probably don't want those. But if you're used to hearing my voice, then you can do that. Okay. Previous videos Dana has on YouTube have been so helpful during decluttering. Yay, I love hearing that. Okay, here we go. Hello, I have a few questions. How do you get the motivation? And 2, what do you do with a very over-cluttered space? The answer is follow the process. Follow the decluttering process, the 5-step process. It's the no mess decluttering method. It's in videos. I actually did a series of videos starting, I think it was in December, maybe the month of December, where I talked through each of the 5 steps and all the things around that and all that. So how do you get the motivation? You start with trash. Trash is non-emotional. It is decision-free, and it gets you started. And it makes immediate progress, makes an immediate impact on that space. Progress is the best motivator. Feeling successful is the best motivator. Understanding that just doing this non-emotional, decision-free thing actually makes my space better, that's the best motivator. Focus on better. Make better your goal. You cannot fail at better if you do even one single thing. And feeling that success, like, oh, this is better. It's not done, but it's better and it was worth my time. Great, incredible, help in motivating. What do you do with a very overcluttered space? Let's say, okay, and this is not necessarily what you're saying. I'm not saying this at all, but let's say that you are starting at the entry to your living area and it is shoulder high with piles. What would you do in that situation? Well, you would stand at that doorway and you would have a trash bag in your hand and a donate box in your hand. And you would look for trash and you would say, okay, clearly stuff has to leave my house. And so I need to really be pretty ruthless on the trash and the donations because there's just simply not enough space. So start throwing away trash that you can reach and access without tearing everything apart. Okay. So maybe I can reach that over here and I can reach that over here and I can reach 3 things here, and you throw away trash. And okay, I've got my donate box. What in here could be donate? Okay. And I'm going to put stuff in there. And then I've made it, this far into the room. I'm going to do a little bit more trash, a little bit more donate, a little bit more trash, a little bit more donate, really focusing on these things, because if we're in that situation, things are going to have to leave the house. There is no reorganizing here. There is no putting things away. It is literally, it has to leave. So standing at the space and doing that. If you are, if this is a room, then, is there anything easy here that I can take to the actual place where it's already established? And then I take it there now so that I'm facing the reality of that space. Is there room for it or not? Because I don't want to just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to go stick it over here for now and stick it over here for now. That's stuff shifting. That's not decluttering. And that doesn't actually move us forward. Okay, let's see. Will you be offering more classes in the future? My decluttering coaches all own their own businesses. They all agreed to do this promotion for me to promote these classes for $50, which is less than most of them charge other times. But yeah, they all do this. They all do, most of them do virtual coaching as well. So yes, find the coach that's nearest to you and, connect with them, say, hey, put me on your email list for when you offer a future thing or whatever. But yeah, there will definitely be, but they all do that on their own, right? Okay. Overwhelmed. What ideas do you have for discouraging husband from filling spaces as I clear them? Someone suggested a bin and empty spaces. I think that's what Dawn from Minimal Mom did. Honestly, one thing that I would consider is getting rid of furniture that is being piled upon. Okay. So if there are, and that's one thing I've had to do is if something is a surface that just continually gets stuff on it, removing that surface is highly helpful. Okay. But yeah, if you wanted to do the bin and the empty spaces, you could do that. I don't do that, but yeah, that'd be an option. If something doesn't have a home, should I throw it out? I don't start there because that is the kind of mindset that I used to be like, I guess if it doesn't have a home, I should throw it out. But then my reaction to that would be, but I can't just throw it out because so that was a self-defeating thing for me. So instead I go through my process. Is it trash? Yeah. Okay. Is it easy? Does it have an established home? Okay. I'm going to, which obviously this doesn't, that's what you just said. Okay. So instead of this, I ask myself, if I needed this item, where would I look for it first? And I'm only asking that of things that don't have a home, right? Because if they had a home, they were easy and they've already left the space in step 2 of the no mess decluttering process. But I asked myself, if I needed this item, where would I look for it first? The first place that comes in my mind, not as a place where I know it would be, but as a place that's the first place I would look in what I assumed was going to be this big tear the house apart drama, that is what I used to basically every time I needed to look for something, I was like, oh my goodness, it's going to be a 3-hour search, right? Where's the first place where I would look? And that is what I identify as the home that it should have. That's how I establish the home, not by deciding and coming up with a big logical reason why it should be there, but saying, this is where I would look for it first. That's its home. And then I take it there now. And that makes me face the reality of that space. Is there room for it here? If there's not, what am I willing to get rid of? Oh, I'm not willing to get rid of anything to make the room for it. Then yes, it needs to go. Right? Okay. So following the process is, it works much, 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 much better for me than these arbitrary things of, well, there's no room, there's not a place for it, so I'm going to throw it out. Well, I'm going to resist that real hard. Because in the beginning, I didn't have places for anything. Overwhelmed. What ideas do you have? Oh, I already did that one. Sorry. Yay. Love it. Decluttering at the Speed of Life audiobook. I just, somebody, wish I could remember anything ever, right? But somebody has said several times, and I know you come to a lot of these lives, but just tell everybody to read the book. Just tell them to read the book. Because the book, she was talking about how she resisted it for a long time. She's like, oh, I'll just listen to the lives. And it's like, once you read the book, you go, oh, I get it now. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yes. And local libraries. Most local libraries carry my books. If yours doesn't, ask them to get it. Like, because they're all traditionally published, like, they're just books that are out there, right? So a lot of libraries have them. Ask them to get them. A lot of times when you request that they purchase a book, you can be the first person on the list to get it when it comes in. I love it. I love hearing your voice on audiobooks, your stories, and snarky, sarcastic comments. Yay, I love it. Yeah, I have a lot of people who will tell me they've listened to the books like 20 times, that they just listen to it on repeat as, while they're working. Do your audiobooks come with printable charts? No, I'm not a real chart person. I do know that How to Manage Your Home Without Losing Your Mind, the Audible version, it didn't used to. Now it does, finally. It does have I don't know if it's printable or not, but it does have the PDF of the 28 days to Hope for Your Home. So that is available within Audible. Okay. Let's see. I love your 5 steps. I'm getting stuck on the 1 in, 1 out. I usually just move my stuff to the right place, but have trouble figuring what can be donated instead. What can I do to help? I think it's really focusing on the progress and only progress, and that it is more valuable to act on a final decision and give something a real place in my home, which may mean getting rid of something else, that there's more value in that than there is in this space I was originally decluttering looking amazing, right? Because that was me. I would like, oh, it looks so good. And then I would turn around and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like the rest of my house is worse off because of the work I did here. So it might be like a shelf that looks great. But if that means the rest of my house is worse, then, what's the point, right? Which would be the thing that would discourage me from decluttering again in the future. So really focusing in on the value of real, actual, unbacktrackable progress, even if it means that space can't be done. It's not really done if I've made all this other mess, right? But can't be done as quickly. There's so much valuable in step by step making real unbacktrackable progress. Okay, let's see. Question: how do I find homes for things with no home? Yep, I make a huge mess when trying to organize. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I assume you might be new. This is actually my whole entire shtick, right? Like this is exactly what I teach, which is the no mess decluttering process. We do not make a bigger mess when we try to do that. The main thing here, I would say right here, is make sure that you separate decluttering from organizing and realize that there is value in decluttering. Anybody who teaches organizing, which I generally do not, but anybody who teaches organizing will tell you, oh, you got to declutter first, right? So take organizing off the table and say, for now, It might be forever. But for now, I'm going to focus on decluttering. And the way that we find homes, instead of like thinking through and coming up with the best home, instead we go on instinct and we say, if I needed this item, where would I look for it first? That is its home. I've identified the home. I haven't figured out the home. I've identified the home. Okay. And then we take it to that place and we face the reality of that space. Okay. Something else has to go. So this is how we do it. This is the no mess method, is one item at a time, final decision by final decision, and acting on that final decision. The final decision is this trash? Okay. Goes in the trash bag. That's me acting on it. I'm done because it's in the trash bag. I don't ever have to think about it again. One item at a time. Is this easy? Does it have a home somewhere? Okay, I'm going to take it there now. I'm acting on that decision. I'm acting on that, identifying, oh yeah, this is easy. I know where it goes. I take it there. Okay. As long as I'm doing that, I never end up with a huge mess. Okay. Let's see. My container house is, love that you understand your house as a container, is way too big. Do I struggle with my habit of thinking I need abundance, but I'm still over my clutter threshold? So this is next level for me. Can you talk a little bit about that next layer, since my home is not overwhelming anymore, but the amount of stuff is still overwhelming? Yeah. Anything that continually gets out of control is clutter, according to my definition. I get to make up definitions because I write books, right? But yeah, anything that continually gets out of control is clutter. So go with the 5-minute pickup. Use that as your guide. Is a 5-minute pickup enough for my house to be back under control in whatever my life situation, however many people happen to be living here, whatever your situation is? 5 minutes enough for me to get it back under control consistently? Okay. If it's not, then you have a concrete reason to say, I have more stuff than I can handle. I need to get rid of more. Okay, so use that. I always say declutter to the container first, because that's completely outside of you and no analysis needed, right? But if you have decluttered to where technically, yeah, everything has a place to be, but it's still overwhelming to you, go with the clutter threshold. Use the 5-minute pickup as your way to know if you're under your clutter threshold or not. Okay, let's see. Is the flow chart that was a book pre-order bonus from way back when still available? Absolutely. Email us. Yeah, email aslobcomesclean@gmail.com and send your like proof of purchase, just like a screenshot or whatever of, when you got it, or a picture of the actual book in your hands. I don't know. And my assistant will get you that flow chart. That flow chart's awesome, isn't it? Okay, let's see. Regarding coaching, I want to know if the coaching certification includes business practices such as pricing and pro practices, etc. That's what hangs me up with the thought of becoming a coach. So coaches are individual business owners. They're responsible for the, what that means for their area, what they have to set up legally and all that kind of stuff. But yes, we talk about pricing. So here's how it works. There's the training course. You can take the training course and not ever become certified if you don't want to. That's fine, right? Like, use it however you want to. Can't call yourself certified, obviously, and you won't be listed on the site if you only do that. But then if you decide to become certified, I do a monthly training with our coaches. So we have different coaches who, I teach things like how to build an email list and what to send out to it. All that kind of stuff that goes along with that, how to have some sort of a presence online where people can go and kind of check you out so that they can figure out, are you somebody that I want to work with, whatever. So we talk about those kinds of things, talk about how to build your business. Different coaches, I'll do a session with them, an interview with them on what they're doing that's really working well. And then, that all is one of those monthly trainings that the certified coaches get. Again, that's part of their certification, is access to that. There you go. Yeah. But like, for example, the classes, these workshops that they're teaching, it is a curriculum that they get access to as a certified coach. The goal there is for them to have that to help build their business. They also have a 1 hour, hour and a half curriculum to do a teaching session where they can do a session at their local library or a session at their church or whatever, that's something where they can, get people in, gives them something to advertise, let people know that they're a coach, get people in, get introduced to them to help build their business. So yeah. So as far as like all of the legal business setup, we are not able to teach that because we have literally coaches all over the world, right? And so it's different in different places. But as far as best practices and what are other people doing that's working and blah, 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 we do a lot of that kind of coaching. Okay. I am trying to take it there now, but I get sidetracked when I take it there with what needs to be done there. Then run out of time to finish the original space. Recommendations for dealing with this derailment. Yes. Remind yourself that if this space is a mess, I'm not going to leave it any worse. Okay. And when I say remind yourself, like for me, I literally talk out loud to myself, right? Like I see your two beautiful daughters in your picture. So just tell them this is how it's going to be. I have to talk out loud to myself, right? My kids are very used to it. But like I would be like, all I'm going to do is make space for this item. I'm not going to leave this space any worse. Okay. And this is where I would look for it first. I'm taking it there now. This space is a mess. Whew. Okay. But I am going to remove something from this space to create the room for this item that I'm taking there now. Okay. Ideally, it's going to be trash or a dead donation because my trash bag and my donatable donate box are back at the space I was originally decluttering. So those are the things that I want to look for. But even if I did get distracted on this space, because I have taken it there now, and because I am doing things in the no mess process, meaning one item at a time, acting on final decisions as I make them, which I'm helped to make those final decisions through the process, right? Even if I'm still not any worse off and my house is getting better. But the way that I get back to that original space is by looking for trash or a dead donation, which if the space is messy and out of control, there's going to be trash. There are going to be dead donations, right? Okay. Let's see. When starting my deslobification process, I love when people use that word, my word, should I start with procrastinator, laundry, and dishes? I know do the dishes or start with the visibility rule. I would start with the dishes for sure. Okay. And the beauty, just because that is the thing that keeps the house from ever looking, if the dishes are out of control, the house will literally never feel under control, right? So if you can only do one thing, do the dishes, focus on the dishes. As far as laundry goes, the beauty of laundry is that you can go put a load in and then do your dishes, put a load of laundry in and take the time that the laundry is going to declutter with the visibility rule, and that will keep you going and making real progress. So yes, dishes and laundry are important. And if you can only focus on dishes and laundry, you will be better off for having focused on dishes and laundry. Your house overall will be better. And then as you're able, you're going to free up time. If you're doing the dishes every day, yes, it maybe took you 4 hours yesterday to get caught up, but if you do them again today, they're going to be done in 15 minutes. What? I didn't know that. I always thought, oh, okay, well, if it takes me 4 hours to do the dishes, because I always wait till I'm out of dishes, then I bet you if I did them every day, it'd be at least an hour. No, it's nowhere near an hour to do a day's worth of dishes. Okay. But I never knew that. Right. So you do those 15 minutes worth of dishes and you're like, oh, I've got some time. Okay. Use the no mess method in the visible spaces. And that's how you'll really start to make some real progress. Okay. I am done decluttering. Woo! We're never done decluttering. So remember that you're going to have to keep on getting rid of stuff to maintain this. But anyway, sorry. And my house looks organized and easy to maintain. Thanks to your ideas. What will you do if you have a big kitchen and it takes your cleaning process hours to finish? I would continue decluttering. If it is taking hours to finish cleaning, I would minimize until that is not the case anymore. Okay. Yeah, that's what I would say. Let's see. Last live session, I asked a question about a spouse, same thing, right? A spouse who doesn't want to get rid of clothes that don't fit, aren't worn, etc. I followed your advice and have 3 bags that we are donating today. I love it. I wish I knew what I said. Y'all go back and watch it, okay? Because it must have been amazing. But this is so great though, right? Like it feels like a hopeless situation, and yet you follow the process and it works. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, let's see. Thank you. Off the wall question. I saw in previous videos that you have your kitchen cooktop in your island, but do you have a vent for it? Does it matter? I need to know. I am not the person to ask because I have literally no idea. We bought this house and I don't know. We don't have a vent for it. I know. Nobody's going to be like, oh no. I do have monitors though for like monitoring combustible gas kind of stuff, whatever. Yeah. So I have all the different kinds of monitors that you can have, but no, I'm not the person to ask because I literally have no idea. I live in a small apartment and I share my bedroom with my yarn, which I read later was a bad idea. How can I reclaim my bedroom without getting rid of my yarn? I have yarn. I have decluttered. Yeah, I think it's the same as kind of like we were talking about with the questions before of like, okay, here's how it goes. What space do I have to give to my yarn that doesn't make my bedroom not be able to function as my bedroom? Okay. So is it this cabinet over here? Is it, you know what? I hang up all my clothes. And so this dresser where I, had it for clothes or whatever, I think I can consolidate, the underwear and the socks to one drawer and the other drawers can be for yarn. But what space do I have to devote for yarn that doesn't make it impossible to function in my bedroom the way I need to function in my bedroom, right? Like meaning the bed can't be piled in yarn because that keeps you from sleeping in the bed, which, causes me to not be able to function as, the bedroom. So focus on that and say, what space do I have to devote to this? And then let that space make the decisions for you. So I put if let's say it's that dresser for, for yarn. Okay. I'm going to put my favorite skeins. Is that right? Skeins in first. And once it's full, that helps me determine how much yarn I can actually have in my room. I can keep anything. I just can't keep everything. And the reality of the space is the reality of the space, but you're asking the question, which means you're like, oh, yeah, I can't function in my bedroom. I can't relax in my bedroom the way that I need to because it's overrun with yarn. Okay. But if yarn is really important to you, then it deserves space in there, but maybe there's something else that you can get rid of. And you're like, you know what? I have a ton of blankets in this blanket tub thing. And actually in reality, I don't live somewhere that's that cold and I pretty much can deal with a summer blanket and a winter comforter and I'll be fine. Right. And so you say, I can get rid of those things so that I can keep the yarn, which is more important to me. But it's that giving the function of the space first priority and then, acknowledging that with what you're going to keep. Let's see. What is the flow chart and does Audible Speed of Life have a PDF? No, there is no PDF at all related to decluttering at the speed of life. The flow chart is, let's see. The flow chart was a pre-order bonus for organizing for the rest of us. And so this is the one, okay, that if you have this book, you can email us and in any format. It doesn't have to be in the paperback. Anyway, so this book is, let me see if I can, here's a picture from this book. Whoop. Oh, I didn't break this book in yet. Anyway, there's a picture of me brushing my teeth. So this book is basically it's like the the abbreviated like tip format, real quick tip format. It's flip throughable. It's called a gift book. I'm not sure who gives it, who gives people books on being organized, but anyway, but it's just the category in the bookstore of that kind. So does that make any sense what I just said? I have no idea. Let's see. Please explain question 2 of step 4. I'm confused by how and why that works. Okay. I only have a couple minutes, so I'm going to give you a real brief version, but I do want you to go back to my regular videos, which are not the Q&As with this behind me, right? And there is one that probably came out in December called that specifically goes into the 2 decluttering questions and explains everything about the 2 decluttering questions. So go and watch that video for that. Question 2 of my 2 decluttering questions, which is step 4 in the no mess process. Question 2 is, if I needed this item, would it ever occur to me that I already had one? Okay. I have already asked myself that. I am not saying, did I know I had it? Right? Because decluttering is like Christmas. Like I find stuff and I'm like, oh, yay, what? I still have that or whatever. Anyway, but I asked myself the first decluttering question first. If I needed this item, where would I look for it first? If I have an answer to that question, I take it there now. If I can't answer, where would I look for this first? If my answer is, okay, then I ask, if I needed this item, would it occur to me that I already had one? Right? Because I didn't have a place where I would look for it first. And remember, the looking for it first doesn't mean that I know it's going to be there. It means, where would I look first when I'm tearing apart my house looking for it? I had to admit that there were things in my home that I would either do without or automatically go out and buy another one because it would never cross my mind to even look for it. And if that was the case, then doing without, great. I never needed it anyway because I was able to do without. Or going out and buying another one. Now I'm doubling up the stuff in my house, and my goal was to get stuff out of my house because my house was completely out of control. Okay. So I asked myself that question as a reality check. The truth is, if I wasn't working in this space, I would have no idea this thing was here. And because I would have no idea this thing was here anywhere in my house, never crossed my mind that I already had one, I would not have even looked anywhere for this item. That's why I didn't have an answer to the first question. Where would I look for this first? Therefore, it needs to go because my goal is to get this space decluttered. Okay. That is the key. I am working on this space being decluttered so that I can function in my home, which means stuff needs to leave. And this is a reason that this thing needs to leave because I would never have gone looking for it. Okay. I wouldn't say I, because I'm past this, right? But if you insist, oh, no, I would know I had it. If you would know that you have it, then you have to have a place where you would look first. So go back to that first decluttering question. If I needed this item, where would I look for it first? Well, I don't have, no, you're probably asking, if you're like, I know I have it, but I don't have a place where I would look for it first, you're probably thinking of the first question wrong. And you're thinking of it as, where would I know that it is? No, that's not the question. It's where would I look for it first, even if I had no confidence that it was going to be there. All right. So that's how you do that. But go back and watch that video from December about the 2 decluttering questions, and that'll really help. Okay. I have to stop. This was fun. And I think I'll be here next week. I don't know. I'm on a deadline right now. And so it's a little iffy every week. But don't forget, declutteringcoaches.com/class. I'm going to show you a couple of really cute little graphics here real quick. Okay. Remember, I have coaches all over the US, and I also have some who are worldwide as well. We have a cute little graphic now because we didn't have that before and it was harder to find them. But anyway, other coaches in other places. These coaches, these 6 of my 40 something coaches are hosting live decluttering workshops. Okay. So they'll take, it's basically Decluttering at the Speed of Life is the textbook. So it's not like you're going to hear stuff that you've never heard before if you've read it from that book, but the value of it is the live class, the teaching of it, the discussion, the ability to ask questions of a certified coach. So anyway, all right, this has been fun. I will probably talk to y'all next week.